Essentially, in the city form of government that we run by, the mayor files the budget the first day in May, second day in May. The city council essentially has 6 weeks to act on it. The first 3 weeks are acted at the subcommittee level, the finance subcommittee, which I chair, which you described, and the second 3 weeks at the city council themselves.
Now that budget here, it's right around, I don't have the specific number, but it's right around—
Neither do I, don't worry about it.
Yeah, $359 million as a whole. Is there anything about that grand total figure that you feel is worth providing additional context on? Any specific particular projects or initiatives that you feel like is important to you or the rest of the subcommittee or the council? Anything on that front?
Unfortunately, or better, this year is a pretty standard straight year. There's not a lot of additional revenue available this year, so this budget for the most part has no new programs in it, no major new anything really. It's just to try to keep services as level as we can within the revenues that we have this year. So unlike past years where sometimes programs and things are being introduced, this budget really does very little of that. So it sounds like a lot of money, but it's really just a function of how much we spent last year, and that's added about $10 million to it this year to just keep it pretty much as it is.
And part of that additional revenue is the 2.5% tax levy increase, adds just over $5 million in additional revenue. Is there anything that homeowners or business owners within the city have to know on that front?
Well, the point you make is true. The budget as proposed is a 2.5% increase in the tax levy. That's going to increase the tax bill probably a couple $100 when the average tax bill, if your house is valued more than, I think it's $500,000 or so, which is the average, it's going to increase it more than $200. If it's less than that, it may be a little bit less. But this will be one of the bigger tax increases we've seen in recent years.
Was there any talk about making that even higher or lower one way or the other from that 2.5% mark?
Oh, there's always talk.
True.
But as of right now, there hasn't been any concrete proposals to do that. I don't think it'll go higher because in order to go higher, you'd have to spend more money, and there's no more money recommended. The city council can only cut the budget. We can't increase the budget. The mayor is the only person that can do it. So he has to recommend an increase. I speak incorrect on one basis. The city council on a 2/3 vote can increase the school budget, but it has to be within existing available revenues.
Now, you as just one person, as you just mentioned, you're also in a unique position where you're not only the chair of the subcommittee, but also one of the at-large city councilors. Mm-hmm. So far, up until this point, over the last couple of weeks, months, have there been any projects requiring municipal funding that you've heard from constituents specifically that they seem really enamored with, really impassioned about, included within this budget?
Well, I think people are looking for municipal services to certainly maintain at the level they are. Public safety, education particularly are concerns. But I had not heard a lot because a lot of times when you start hearing things, it's often because of one or two things happen. Something's being taken away that people want to have occur, or something's being added that may offer some controversy. As I said a few minutes ago, this budget doesn't really have either of those things this year because of the financial situation. Therefore, I think it has been, in some regards, a relatively quiet budget year. There's a few activists who always have opinions, and I appreciate that. But for the most part, I think everyone understands the parameters, and so far, everybody's been happy. So in a year that has been a little challenging, I think people are actually pretty happy.
And if anyone wants to provide any of their thoughts throughout this process, is there an avenue for them to do so over the next couple of weeks?
Absolutely. You can go to the website, and you can, the City of Framingham website, framinghamma.gov, and go to the City Council page, and with one click, you can email all of us.
Is there a public comment period coming up regarding this at the Memorial Building where people can also do that if they prefer?
There'll be public meetings on it, and the public meeting schedule is on there. We certainly take public comment at all times, so you can do it by writing, calling, anything like that, and we'd be happy to hear your thoughts.
Anything else about this budgeting process that you think is pertinent for citizens to know about?
I think the budget process is very important because it determines what we're going to spend and what our policies are and what our city services are going to look like. Unfortunately, it doesn't really get much attention, even in years when things are a little bit more controversial. The attention tends to be minimal. So as a city councilor, sometimes that is a little frustrating. The time we hear the most about it is in the fall when we're going to set the tax rate. But unfortunately, by the time we set the tax rate, we've already decided 6 months previously what we're going to spend. So it is a very important process that it has been hard to get people really actively involved in. I think part of the reason is because it's such a large number, like you said at the beginning.